My hair is getting way too long. Oh my god, there's so much of it. Today I am reviewing The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer, and I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I think this is actually the first time that I can recall, at least, that I have appreciated a book more than I enjoyed it. The Shock of the Fall is about a guy named Matt who's telling us a story about how he dealt with the death of his brother when he was a child, and basically how it shaped him as a person going into the rest of his life, and how it affected his family, and how he dealt with everything. He is recalling everything and writing it down in his own story that he's writing from inside a psychiatric hospital. Because of that, the story is pretty all over the place. It goes between past tense and present tense. He doesn't tell things in order. It's kind of jumbly sometimes, but it was done like that on purpose because it's told from someone who is mentally ill. That makes sense that it was told that way, and it was well done. It seemed pretty believable the way it was written, because sometimes he was talking about something that was happening to him at the time of him writing, and then sometimes he was talking about things that happened like last year, and then sometimes he was talking about stuff that happened when he was 13 years old. Mostly what I didn't like about the way the story was told was that there were 2 major plot points that did not get explained. But he did say in the book that you don't get to choose what you remember in your life, especially when you're younger. Sometimes you remember things and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you remember that the puzzle pieces got put together, but you don't remember how they got put together. So the 2 things that didn't have explanations were probably because he couldn't remember what happened. But I felt like they were very important plot points. They were very important, to me at least, and I want to know. I want to know how certain things came about. It was also just it was a pretty depressing book. It was not happy. It was not a happy book at all. It's about how he hates the fact that his brother died. And how he died and why he died, and then he's also going crazy, which is also not very nice. So it definitely wasn't an uplifting book. It was pretty much a downer book. It made me really sad while I was reading it, but it was really well done and well written, and it was pretty deep, and there were a lot of thoughts in it that I thought were very incredibly true. It felt very truthful and very honest, and some of the thoughts that they said kind of just made me go, oh, yeah, and I wish I could remember some of them. Even just there were some very, very simple things that I feel like in other stories would seem strange to mention, and in this they didn't. Like, he was sick and his mom was feeding him soup, and it says, I opened my mouth and she fed me another spoonful. It wasn't a plastic spoon or anything. It wasn't for babies. It was a regular spoon. And just the fact that he felt like he needed to clarify that, for some reason, just made him feel such a real person. And a real person who is going through some mental issues. Like, I don't know, it just was... Yeah, so I can't find any others. But some of the random thoughts that he had, I thought just felt incredibly real and touching, and just kind of made me think about life as well. There were things about it that I liked, of course, and it was well done. As a whole, it wasn't a book that really made me feel good. I don't really know how to describe it, but I definitely appreciate the story and the message behind the story and what the character went through and what he dealt with and how he went on with his life and his outlook on life, and I really appreciated a lot of the elements in the story, and I appreciated the story as a whole. I just feel like I appreciated it more than I enjoyed it. Guy named Matt, who is telling us a story in The Shock of the Fall, is about a guy named Matt who is basically writing a story about his childhood and about, kind of like the events afterwards. His childhood, and up until is recalling his childhood and the days leading up until the days that he starts writing his story of his childhood,